It's the women in basketball talk. Let's go. Shot calling, the shots falling. My crossover leaves the ops crawling. The fans are in awe cause my handles are awesome. If you don't think I'm ballin', then hand me the ball then. Her story will make history. Watch the long shot hit the three, guaranteed victory. You might wanna stick with me, headed for the goal. If you roll, set a pick for me. It's the women in basketball talk. Tune in, all facts, no cap. We could talk about stats. It's the women in basketball talk. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
What's up, women's basketball fans? Welcome back to a brand new episode of Let's Talk Women in Basketball podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Porty. On today's episode, we will discuss the upcoming WNBA draft, what NFL player just recently signed as part owner of the Las Vegas Aces, and later, we will be joined by one of the pioneers of the WNBA, Bridget Pettis. Basketball enthusiasts all over the world are giddy with anticipation as the 2023 WNBA draft draws near. A wide range of outstanding athletes will be vying for slots on the league's 12 teams, making this year's draft one of the most competitive ones yet. The 2023 WNBA draft will be held on Monday, April 10th. It will be exclusively televised on ESPN from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and available on the ESPN app. According to the WNBA website, fans have multiple ways to get involved with the WNBA draft. Launching in March, Draft Central on WNBA.com will enable fans to access multiple offerings in days leading up to the draft. Elements will include an interactive draft board, prospect profile with insights powered by SAP, in-depth features on top draft prospects, coverage of all WNBA draft events, and more. Fans will also be able to access an array of content across WNBA channels that will include unique stories and personalities of prospects via Instagram and TikTok. A Twitter Space mock draft debate, cross-platform live coverage including the orange carpet, and more. The draft consists of 3 rounds and 36 picks. The WNBA only has 144 roster space, so the higher a player is drafted, the larger likelihood they will make a roster. Only a small percentage of players drafted make a WNBA roster. Prospect players to watch out for and who's most likely to get drafted in the 2023 WNBA draft are South Carolina Gamecocks forward ALIYAH Boston. Boston is not just pro-ready from a playing perspective, but also in her leadership, and she won't shy away from having a lot put on her shoulders by the Fever, who hopes to finally get the franchise back to what it used to be. Boston's stats consist of 13.4 points a game, 9.9 rebounds a game, which have dropped since last season because the Gamecocks are now full of superstars. But she's an even better overall player who has studied the WNBA, and she knows what to bring to the table. The Minnesota Lynx will most likely select Diamond Miller from Maryland Terrapins. Miller's quickness, size, and ability to run the floor could be a big asset for a Lynx team who's remaking itself after Sylvia Fowles' retirement. Minnesota might debate between Miller and Haley Jones at this pick. If the Lynx opt for Miller, who is averaging 19.8 points and 6.6 rebounds, she will give them an explosive transition player who is hard to guard and appears to have a high ceiling. The Dallas Wings will most likely select Haley Jones from Stanford. The Wings might see Jones as having an elite playmaker potential without necessarily needing to score a lot to have an impact on the game. She is averaging 13.3 points, 9 rebounds, 3.9 assists for Stanford, which needs to have her do a lot of everything. Jones' lack of three-point shooting, where she averaged 3 of 29 this season and 23 of 102 in her Stanford career, might be a big concern for Dallas. The Washington Mystics will most likely select Villanova Wildcats forward Maggie SIEGRIST. SIEGRIST moved up on the draft board because her number keeps getting bigger. She's leading Division I basketball in scoring, where she's averaging 29.4 points a game while shooting 53.8% from the field, and she averaged 9.3 rebounds. The Mystics are a strong defensive team that could get an offensive boost from SIEGRIST, who had a 50-point game on 20 of 26 shooting on February 11th. The Washington Mystics might even see a little of Elena Delle Donne in SIEGRIST, even though she's not as tall. The Atlanta Dreams will most likely select Tennessee Lady Vols guard Jordan HORSTON. HORSTON is averaging 15.5 points, 6.5 rebounds, 3.3 assists, and might be the best player available pick for the Dreams at this point in the draft. Her size, length, hustle also should fit into the style that Atlanta coach Tanisha Wright hopes to play. Indiana Fever most likely will select South Carolina Gamecocks guard BEAL. General Manager Lynn Don's preference for a great defensive player might mesh with BEAL's reputation as one of the most elite defenders in college. BEAL averaged 5 points per game along with 4 rebounds and 2.3 assists, but the Gamecocks don't need her to score. Indiana might keep BEAL and South Carolina teammate Boston together in the WNBA. LSU forward LaDasia Williams will most likely be selected by the Atlanta Dream. She will give the Dream a legit big player inside who has shown she can run the floor, which she will need to do well while making the transition to the WNBA. I believe LSU guard Alexis Morris will be selected by the Seattle Storm for the number 9th spot. She could help the Storm squad moving on after legendary point guard Sue Bird retirement. Alexis is a talented player who has excellent court vision, ball handling skills, and the ability to score from anywhere on the court. She is known to have the potential to be a game changer at the next level, and she could make an immediate impact for the Seattle Storms this season. The Los Angeles Sparks will possibly select Iowa State guard Ashley Jones. Jones is one of the greatest scorers in Big 12 history, where she made 317 three-pointers at Iowa State while shooting almost 36% behind the three-point arc. But she also doesn't shy away from battling inside. She averaged 20.2 points and 9.1 rebounds per game. Jones has a high motor and never stops moving, which is the type of player that new Sparks coach Kurt Miller can appreciate. The Dallas Wing will most likely select Oklahoma Summer forward MADDY Williams. Williams is the leading scorer and second leading rebounder on Oklahoma's squad. She is shooting 53% from the field and could get a chance to play for the WNBA team in her native Texas. Forwards that are MADDY's size need hard hustle and nose for the ball instincts, which are everything that she already has. The last pick of the 2023 WNBA draft will most likely go to UConn Huskies forward DORKA JUHASZ. JUHASZ has played well for depth challenge Huskies after an early season thumb injury. She is averaging a double-double, 14.4 points per game, 10.3 rebounds, plus 3.4 assists. Her size, production, and UConn pedigree could make her a possible fit for the Lynx, who are building around former Husky star Navisa Collar. The 2023 WNBA draft promised to be a thrilling and historic event that will shape the future of women's basketball. With a talented pool of prospects and teams hungry to build their rosters, fans can expect to see some incredible athletes selected and exciting trades made. As the league continues to grow and gain recognition, this draft marks another step forward in fight for gender inequality in sports. Whether you're a die-hard fan or a casual observer, the 2023 WNBA draft is not to be missed. 7-time Super Bowl champ and 5-time MVP winner Tom Brady is now part of the Las Vegas Aces organization. Yes, you heard correct, Tom Brady. According to several reports, the NFL legend recently invested in the Las Vegas Aces organization, buying a share of the team from majority owner Mark Davis. Here's what Tom Brady had to say about joining the Las Vegas Aces family.
Hey guys, what's up? I got really special news to share today. I'm excited to announce I'm going to become part of the Las Vegas Aces organization. It was a matter of time before I was back in the building with some of the greatest athletes in the world. And I grew up with 3 older sisters. They were all incredible athletes in their own right. They were role models to me. It's where my love of women's sports began. I tagged along. I was the annoying little brother to all their games. And they were the best athletes in our house. And they're still a great inspiration to me. So I admire all the work the Aces players and staff and what the WNBA continues to do to grow the sport and to empower the future generations of female athletes, one I have in my own family, and I'm ready to contribute in any way possible as a member of such a great organization. What an honor. I can't wait to watch these amazing, talented players bring another championship to Las Vegas. LFG.
I believe Tom Brady will be a great addition to the Las Vegas Aces organization, and hopefully this will encourage other professional athletes to invest in the WNBA as well. In our next segment, we will be joined by one of the pioneers of the WNBA, Bridget Pettis, so stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Bridget Pettis, and you're listening to Let's Talk Women in Basketball podcast.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Women in Basketball podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Porty. Right now, we are joined by one of the pioneers of the WNBA. She was selected 7th overall by the Phoenix Mercury in the first WNBA draft. She's a Hall of Famer. She helped the Phoenix Mercury win 2 championships as their assistant coach, and she's an entrepreneur. Please welcome Bridget Pettis to Let's Talk Women in Basketball podcast. Hi, Bridget. How are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
You're welcome. Good. Thanks for asking. So when did you fall in love with the game of basketball?
Wow. I say I fell in love the day I met it. I was about around 7 or 8 in the playground. I remember it like it was yesterday. I just walked on the court with the boys, and the first thing they said was, "Girls don't play here." So I got a nice welcoming that fueled my engine, and
okay.
so it just was love at first sight, honestly, and just went wholeheartedly at it.
Wow. Who taught you how to play basketball?
The neighborhood.
Oh, wow.
The neighborhood first, and then my coaches. I would say I definitely was very, very fortunate. I was brought up with a Indiana Hall of Fame coach, Roberta DeKemper, and she instilled in me a lot of discipline and fundamentals. I just remember being so fundamentally trained when I was young, and who would have thought that would have just paid off into its fruition to today?
Yes. Do you have a basketball nickname?
Nickname? I got a couple of them. Everybody in the league called me BP.
Okay.
So I know when somebody say BP, they probably a former player in the W.
Yeah.
B, a lot of people just call me B. I kind of go by B a lot today. And yeah, that's it.
Okay. After high school, you went to a community college. What made you decide to go to a community college first?
Yeah, good question. Just ran into some kids today that I don't think I was academically ready for Division I at the time. Needed a lot more discipline in my schoolwork. And, I sat with my high school coach and my counselors, and it was just the best decision at that time. And, I kept the goal of being a Division I player in my forefront. So it was a good move for me. I went to another great school, Central Arizona, where I had another Hall of Fame coach. And, she did all her work on me and helped me develop. And honestly, I felt like when I went junior college, that's when I really developed into I knew that I could probably go to a next level, even professionally.
Yes. So from there, you went on to play at the University of Florida. What was it like being coached by Carol Ross?
My second mom. It was wonderful. Carol had a lot of knowledge of the game. Again, I went to another Hall of Fame coach, and
Yeah.
just had some beautiful teachers in my life, and Carol was one of them. She made a huge impact. She brought a lot of maturity to me. And helped me transition from a JUCO to a Division I level. And then I even had her as an assistant coach, and I was an assistant coach for the Sparks when she was a head coach. So I was a mentor, mentee under her for quite a while.
Oh, wow. After college, you went on to play 3 years overseas, and then you got selected in the 1997 WNBA draft, which was the first draft in the WNBA. Could you talk about your experience as a player in the WNBA?
Yeah. It was just amazing. I mean, it was a dream come true. My dream was to go overseas. I grew up with a player, LaTanya Pollard. I don't know if many know of her, and I speak of her often as the one in front of me. And when I knew she was playing overseas, that was it for me. I wanted to go overseas, and the WNBA was just like a bonus and a dream beyond a dream. And it was just an amazing experience to be playing at the highest level. When you're overseas, you know you're at the highest level. And then when the WNBA started, like you knew you were like at the cream of the crop of the highest level. And it was just exciting to play with Jennifer Gillum, Michelle Timms, you know, to be coached by Cheryl Miller. It's almost like a dream.
Yeah.
a dream story, another Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah. Wow,
So,
you had so many Hall of Fame coaches in your career. You had no choice but to be a great player.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They planted good seeds, you know, and those seeds are to be planted forward.
Yeah.
My WNBA experience, I was all in. I didn't take a day for granted. Practice was the most important thing. We enjoyed practices, and it was just the whole experience was lived. You know, it wasn't just like we waited for the game. We loved the whole experience of here's a new team, and getting out in the city in Phoenix and letting the community know who we are, and playing on a different, you know, stage. So it's powerful.
Yes. How has the WNBA evolved since your playing days?
Well, many ways. It evolved talent-wise. I definitely see the talent level excelling. It has evolved financially to some degree. You know, the players are making more money. It has evolved in the coaching as well. I remember we had a lot of coaches that were coming in from college, and they had to transition to learn how to become a professional player. So I see more professional coaches, just the discipline overall, the way they balance the practice and playing, and with players playing overseas, because you have to be really mindful of all the amount of work that's being put on the court. I think it's just evolved overall in helping the players balance out more.
Yes. One of the major issues right now in the WNBA is players no longer wanting to fly commercial flights. What do you think the WNBA can do to resolve this issue?
Better partnerships, continue getting better partnerships within the communities that these WNBA teams are on, sponsoring this team. I think the players as well got to continue to get out in the community and get into the schools, get into, you know, these businesses, get out in the community and make a bigger impact in the community that teams are in. And you'll see, you know, the investment come into the team. It's no different than what you see with the NBA. I mean, the NBA in Phoenix has been around a long time, the Suns. So I see Suns every business I go to. They have some type of connection. So I think those efforts need to still be made out in the community, and you'll see that evolution that we want. I definitely believe that the jersey sales should be already on the rise as far as dividing that commission with the players. I was a player that had a jersey that was sold, and I've never received anything for that. So whoever wearing that jersey,
I'm about to check on eBay.
Enjoy that jersey.
Wow. So after you retired from the WNBA, you went on to coach several WNBA teams. You were also the director for basketball operations. What made you decide to go into coaching and basketball operations?
Wow. Well, honestly, I didn't know. I always knew my clock was ticking. I could feel it in my body after 14 years overseas. And I remember Paul Westhead had brought me back to Phoenix to be a captain on the team, and I was going to play my last year for Phoenix, and then they decided they wanted to bring Penny Taylor. Penny Taylor wanted to come back and play in the WNBA. And so he said, I need you to be a coach now. And it switched just like that. Like I was a player one day and then I became a coach.
Oh, wow.
And it was pretty, it was just different completely.
Yeah.
It's a completely different situation. And I didn't know how to coach. I was grateful to be under a mentee under him. I mean, the great Paul West said. But what I did was during the off season of the WNBA, I went and coached middle school. And I learned how to coach. I learned what it is that I need, how to coach, how to teach a player how to do something. It's different when you just like do this, and you're doing it.
Yeah. That's so cool that you went into middle school, because a lot of high profile players, I don't think they would like go to a middle school to coach. For you to not have, I guess, a mindset of, oh, I don't want to coach middle school because I'm a professional, for you to just go that route, that just shows how professional you are, because you're willing to, coach middle school.
Yeah.
That's
amazing. I mean, I think we're students first, and I remain a student. And even as a coach, I remind players, please come in and be a student. Just be a student, humble yourself and be a student, and you can grow every year. Like every single year you can get better. I mean, I played professionally overseas for 14 years. If I would have had my younger years in the WNBA, I definitely would have played just as many. So just being a student of the game is what, we really want to put our hat on about, and letting the game evolve inside of us.
Yes. So in 2020, you stepped down from coaching and you started Project Roots. Can you talk about what is Project Roots and what made you decide to venture out into this new venture?
Yeah. So when I used to be a coach, my off season, my mental therapy was always yoga. I went and learned yoga, the practice of yoga that had been practiced for a long time. And I was a community gardener. So I would go in my little area that I was community gardening and grow my vegetables. And I was always so overwhelmed by how much food that came out of one seed. And when I would get all this bountiful food, I started, distributing it to the food bank. And then it just kind of inside grew from there. I'm like, I want to grow more food. And when COVID hit in 2020, I had already established a half-acre farm community garden. Wow. And I was starting to learn, as well as make my space available for the community in South Phoenix to learn as well. But COVID hit, and, I just felt like my heart had took a turn, like I needed to go be a part of my community and bring more resolutions to the table. And health was a main thing. I understood what was happening in our society, and everybody heals and think of their healing in different ways. And my way was more natural. Let me get my community back to eating food and showing and learning about what food can do naturally. And it just kind of took off from there. I stepped away from the game, and it was a big turn. I had many tears, many tears walking away. But I had so much joy at the same time. I started teaching the children's classes, gardening, providing produce boxes throughout the community in South Phoenix, created the soup kitchen to make sure that we were feeding our unsheltered community. And it's just more that I want to do, and the land can bring so many opportunities, creating job opportunities for our community. We've helped with putting so many gardens in schools, and and making sure that food security is being addressed. And South Phoenix is one of those areas where we in the city of Phoenix are bringing a lot of attention to, because they're labeling it a food desert. But there's really no such thing as a food desert if we got hands. So we got to
True.
get to,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, we got to get to growing. So just
Yeah.
educating. This is something that we all can do. Um, I think it's funny because people always say I can't grow and I kill stuff. I always relate it to basketball. I missed a lot of shots. I just kept shooting.
Yeah.
You know, as an athlete, we think that way. We'll do it again, you know, and
Yes.
that's how I learned. And that's how I got to be a good basketball player, was I just kept doing it. So I'm just trying to implement that practice in the agricultural world.
Yes. I'm a believer of natural foods make you live longer. My great grandma, who recently just passed away at 106 years old, she also had a garden and she grew her own food for a long time. So I
Wow.
felt like that kept her, you know, going because she always grew her own plants and her own fruits and vegetables. So I'm a strong believer in that. What advice would you give to someone who wants to transition from eating junk food, such as myself, to eating more healthier?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, this is what I say I had just had a group of young athletes today. And first I would talk to their parents, make sure that you put healthy food in your house. I would stock my house up with fruits and vegetables, and that's what I had inside my house. If I chose to eat anything other than that, it had to be outside of my house. For me, that way has worked in my transition of eating more healthy. And you know, just bringing the real stuff to the table again, you know, and growing our own food. So if it's
Yeah.
around you, if the food, if healthy food is around you, you know, you'll choose it if it's available. And half the battle is that it's not in our communities. I grew up in East Chicago, and Gary, Indiana is where my family live. And, you know, we got surrounded by convenience stores and, you know, eating that type of way, and McDonald's and things like that. So
Yeah.
just bringing healthy food. Now my mother has a garden. I can see she's healthier just by getting outside. She goes to her garden every year. We keep fruit in the house. The grandchildren are eating a lot more different, and it's just making it available.
Yes. You also have your own foundation. Could you talk about the
Yeah.
Bridget Pettis Foundation?
Yeah, so that's kind of like the whole tie-in, the Bridget Pettis Foundation's way to keep my heart keep my heart in basketball, which I love. So I
Yes.
do community camps right now, in inner cities, and we take 100 kids from inner cities, and we get them all. They all get to come into the camp for free. So only 100 kids. We feed them all 5 days, a plant-based breakfast and a plant-based lunch. We do 3 hours of basketball, 1 hour of a mindful practice, yoga, breath work, meditation, whatever it is. And we make sure every kid at the end of the 5 days, they get a basketball, yoga mat, a t-shirt. And we encourage the parents just for those 5 days, don't give them any meat, so that they can feel that experience of that rejuvenation. So yeah, I've seen young kids just thrive from that experience alone. Just, you know, they love basketball, and then they also find that inner stillness and that inner peace. And, you know, and they learn about healthier food that they wouldn't mind trying. Yeah.
Yes. That's really good for the youth.
Yeah.
You're also a woman of faith. Could you give an inspiring message to our listeners today? Food for thought.
Food for thought. Everything is everything that God created. As I live, and He encouraged, is the best thing for me. And the more I know what He wants for my life, I see that it is the best thing for me. It makes my life better when I eat His food that He made, from the seed. When I get my health and wellness from sunshine and being outside, and the things that He created, I see life better. that's just the way to go. It's the way,
Yeah.
a more natural way of life, and that's a godly way of life to me.
Yes. You have
And thank
anything that you want to promote?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I got two websites, the Bridget Pettis
Okay.
Foundation.org.
Okay.
My community camps are all community based, so I am a 501c3. I would love people to make donations and help provide these camps and feeding the kids and all the work that we're doing. And also projectrootsaz.org. That's the work that we're doing out in South Phoenix in the garden. And just thank you so much for that.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Bridget Pettis, for joining Let's Talk Women in Basketball. It's an honor to have you on my show. I watched you growing up, so it's just amazing for you to be on this podcast today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's it for today's episode of Let's Talk Women in Basketball. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube, Let's Talk Women in Basketball. Also, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Let's Talk Women in Basketball. Catch you next time.